Hey guys, welcome to the live stream. Sorry it took me a minute to get it started. It was sort of a user error on my side. I was having trouble getting to click down to the start streaming button on OBS. And we all know that OBS is, the bane of my existence. I actually checked out StreamYard to consider going back there. It's $1,000 a year to do StreamYard. So I'm thinking, no, I'll stick with the nice free OBS. Nice to see you here, Dexter, and you got a nice number one because you're the first one here. Um, I did fix my timer, I think. I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to try it during the live stream today. And my prompt is kind of inspired by like real life today. So we'll talk about that when I get to it. I'm going to be working on a client book. Nice to see you here, Silver Ollie. I'm going to be working on a client book for the first sprint, and then I'm going to go work on my own book. So going to do a little bit of both because I was in the middle of working on the client book. And so I think I'm going to try that for the first 15 minutes. Maybe not. Maybe I'll just go straight to my book because it is Friday, right? And there's only 57 minutes left in the week, basically. It's been a busy week, which is always good because it goes by really fast. Do you have a new video out? Five rookie mistakes, I think, is the one that's out right now. I'll forget because like I record them 2, 3, 4 weeks ahead of time. I'll batch record on a day when I've got the hair and the makeup and the whole thing, and I've got them all planned out. Then I'll edit them or get them edited by my son, and then I forget which one I ran because they all kind of go together in my head. But I think that's what it is. And I did start a series on shorts, well, series, I've got one so far about writers who changed the world. It's more a matter of like finding the time to record and edit all that. So they'll come as I have time to do it. Let me know how you guys are doing this week and what you're working on, how your writing's going. If you're struggling in the summertime, I know when my kids were little, it was hard to find writing time, much harder, even when I was working full time and driving them to school and soccer matches and stuff like that, because in the summertime, the kids would want to be entertained. So I would let them sleep in the morning and I would do most of my writing early in the morning. And just as I did during the school year, except I'd get to sleep a little bit later. They'd sleep till like 9 or so, and I would just write then. It was hard though because you try to work during the day, and excuse me, and the kids would be like, "I'm bored. Can we go to the park? Can we go to the pool? Can we do this? Can we do that?" And yeah, it was a lot. So if you're home with kids over the summer, my heart goes out to you. I know how hard that is. Or if you're trying to fit your writing in among like taking time off because it's so tempting to take that time off in the summertime. I get that too. And Dexter has 8,200 words. Chapter one is finished. That's great. That's awesome. Good job. Needs tweaks, but I can see where, since I'm running on 4 hours of sleep since noon on Wednesday, that work will begin another day. Oh, yeah. You definitely need to be able to concentrate to do the tweaks and revisions and layering. I'm stuck in the plot of the book that I'm working on. I went back and fixed some other like plot issues that I had and some continuity things and sort of figured out the order because I decided to add a couple of characters to the book. So I had written those scenes last week, and then I'm adding them in, but I had to change some of the order of how things happened in order to accommodate these new characters layering into the suspense. Um, and now I have like break apart the scene with the male protagonist, and I can't figure out why he's in this scene. Like I need to give him a motivation for being there so that I can make everything else happen. So I'll be thinking about that today for sure. Maybe it'll have to go with my writing prompt for the day. It'll be interesting with that. And what else am I working on? Oh, I'm going to BoucherCon, which is the Mystery Writers Conference in New Orleans in September. I'm going to be on a couple of panels. I'm going to be talking about YouTube and writers, and I think I'm also going to be talking about like teaching writing and stuff like that. I don't remember. I saw the schedule and I wrote it down, put it somewhere. Oh, it's over here. My speaking schedule because I have a bunch of events coming up where I'm speaking. So I'm moderating some panels. I'm talking on a podcast panel and I'm talking on a YouTube panel. I'm talking on a panel about ghostwriting, um, one on collaboration, stuff like that. So there'll be a lot of really cool stuff. And I am going to be in the Outliers Writing University media room, which is like a hospitality suite for speakers and stuff. And they're going to have their own sort of schedule going at BoucherCon. So if you guys are going to be at that conference in New Orleans, let me know because I would love to meet you in person. That would be awesome. fantasy adventure that Dexter's writing. And Gayla's here, and so is Natalie. That's awesome. And fantasy adventure sounds really fun. I do think those are fun books to do. And nice to see you here, Walter. Good to see all of you guys here. All right, let's get to the first prompt, the first writing sprint. And again, I'm going to try to use the timer. We shall see how it works. Um, and the prompt is, has your character ever broken the law, like speeding or stealing or drug dealing? And I was just thinking about like getting a ticket. I don't have a ticket, but I had just gotten a notice on my phone that my driving record is so good, knock on wood, right? Because I do speed sometimes, but, but thankfully I've not gotten a ticket, again, knock on wood, in a long time. And I was thinking about, would our characters do that? Would your character like speed? And why would they do that? And would they get caught? And what's the impact on them? Because these little things that happen in your life can have a big impact in the long run. Silver Ollie's working on a children's book about a fluffy elephant toy. Oh, that sounds so cute. That is abandoned by his owner, and from the point of view of the toy, lots of deep emotional wounds. Oh, I love that. Love that. I saw a lot of fluffy toys that were found and washed and like advertised, oh, not advertised, but like put on social media by people in the Texas floods because they wanted to make sure that those got back to the right homes, which was so sweet and heartbreaking. And Dexter, was it any of you who asked what could be done with Grimm for her book? I thought of Grimm Crag, but I tend to use it too. And I don't think it was in this one, Dexter. It doesn't sound familiar, but I could very likely have forgotten because that happens. Okay, so let's spend 15 minutes writing. And we're going to see if your character has ever broken the law. And thank you guys for the hearts. Okay, I'm going to try the timer. So it'll take a second to drop on because I have to turn it on. I'll see you guys in 15 minutes. Okay, so my timer worked more or less. My little great job did not fit well, so I got to move that over. But yeah, hey, it worked. I'll take it. I think I'm going to move the timer to a different place so that it can show better. Um, Fluffy, it's about 6 weeks ago, absolutely on a jump live about the grim thing. Yeah, I don't remember. Sorry. What happens in 6 weeks? So I'm sorry. Fluffy elephant, abandoned, found locked in its own trunk, needs a patient and loving home. Tuscaloosa preferred. That's I love the pun. Love the pun there. I was writing something that's similar before the live and thought I'm cheating. I'm so double broken law here. And I love that. I love you guys. Silver Ollie, great job on 158 words. I figured out why my character is there. I think I need to give him a little bit more motivation for what he's doing. He's just basically cutting down a tree at his house. Um, I think I'm just going to like make it something that the insurance company made him do, which is based on real life. The book that I'm working on right now is set in Florida, and before during hurricane season, before hurricanes come, the insurance companies will sometimes make you cut down trees. They made us cut down one of our trees in our backyard, a camphor tree, which if you've never smelled a camphor tree, they're pretty cool because they smell just like camphor oil. And when they cut it down, that's all you could smell in the air. I guess they're not native to Florida. My son's friend, who's a landscaper, told me that they're like an invasive or not native species. So probably just as well that we got rid of it. But now our yard is like entirely sunshine. There's no shade back there because that camphor tree was huge and old. So I was sad to see it go. But we did plant two other trees, baby trees, but two other crepe myrtle trees to sort of take the place. Where I live, they make you replace the tree with a approved species tree, so that we're never um, like hurting the ecosystem, which is good. I like that my city does that. And 62 words, but or I think that's what you're saying, Natalie. 62 words, maybe, but very interesting. And Elizabeth, 199 words. Good job, almost 200 there. You guys are rocking it here today. Did anybody try the prompt? Did anybody think about having Dexter, you're talking French, so I can't answer that. But did anybody try the prompt and have their character break a law? The character did not. I did not do that in this one, but I think I'm going to use that in the future because if my character broke the law and my other protagonist finds out this is a suspense novel, it would give her a reason to mistrust him. So I think that my little prompt inspired a great little twist to my story. So when you read the book in a year or so, you'll know the twist, one of the twists, one of them, not all of them. I've had a couple of good twists in this book so far that I kind of like came up with when I thought of what is the least likely thing to happen here, because I do that rule of six a lot of times. I don't have my notebook, it's in the other room, but my notebook, I've got lots of lists of six possible twists in the scene. And that's the video I ran a couple weeks ago, 2, 3 weeks ago. I really like doing that because it really makes me come up with something that I didn't expect. And what I've got that I've added into this book when I added another character was a character that was doing something that I didn't expect until I did that. Elizabeth, my protagonist, would be terrified to break the law. She might speed but 5 miles over max. So it would make it really interesting if she did get pulled over by some really super militant cop that was mad that she did the 5 miles over. Or like here, I did get pulled over last year, I think, or maybe it was probably the year before, 2 or 3 years ago for speeding in a school zone. And this was after COVID when they started sending the kids back on like a staggered schedule. So maybe it was like 2021 or 2022. And it was like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And I just assumed that the school zone blinking yellow was wrong because all the time that I have lived here, and I've lived here about 10 years, that school let out at 3. So when it was blinking at 5, I'm like, oh, it's just wrong. And I just went the regular speed on that road and I got pulled over. And the cop was like, no, the kids are on a staggered schedule and whatever grade gets out like at 4:30. And so it was still a school zone. But in my defense, there was no crossing guards and nothing up other than the lights flashing. So he says at any time you have to go that. And yeah, I get that. Um, it's the quality that makes the world turn is the translation of what Dexter wrote. And yeah, I love that. And Elizabeth, and she would get a ticket and go home and cry. I would love that. But sometimes, that can toughen a character up. And what I'm going to do with this character, I'm definitely going to give him some kind of a record because he was a bouncer before he started working with this other. He works in like a bodyguard type role now, and he was a bouncer when the bodyguard company hired him. So maybe he kind of was a bouncer because he had a record. That would be interesting. That's what I think I'm going to do. I don't know what that record would be. I'm going to have to think about. Um, Dexter has my two main characters are heading towards being partners trying to escape a supernatural underworld but don't know it yet. I think that counts as being like the least expected thing. Yes, it could be, especially if your reader doesn't expect it, because when you're coming up with that rule of six, you want the thing that the reader doesn't expect. So if the reader sees that they're going to have to work together, then that's not something that they wouldn't expect. Do you know what I mean? But like maybe, and this is just like off the top of my head, but maybe they become partners and he charges him a ton of money or he turns on him or it turns out that he's like his brother or something like in The Accountant. And sorry if you guys haven't seen the first Accountant movie, but that whole thing where the brother is trying to kill Ben Affleck was a great twist that I didn't see coming in the beginning. So that was really good. Mobland has some seriously good twists. It's a little violent, and pretty graphic, but it's a really good show with really good twists. And when I'm surprised by something, then it becomes a, a great thing to read or write. I don't always get surprised. A lot of books I read, I'm like, oh, I saw that coming, or oh, yeah, that was definitely going to happen. So when you can surprise the reader, it makes a good thing. All right, let's try. Let's try the 15 minutes again, and we'll see if my timer starts automatically when I cut over to it. I don't know. I had to do something different last time, but let's try another 15 minutes. Hmm. Mm. 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 Oh, great job, you guys. We did it again. And I came to a point where I was like, I'm not sure what I'm going to write next. So that it seems like those 15 minutes always ends at the right time for me. Could be because I'm like looking back at the timer to see where you guys are at and make sure that I'm not just letting you sit here for 5 minutes because I forgot and what I was supposed to be doing. And Elizabeth said, I guess she's breaking the law now. I'm writing about her and a group who have psychic powers breaking one of their friends out of a maximum security military installation. I like that. I like that character. And even better because you said you have a character who is totally not a rule breaker at all. You obviously you're giving her a really strong motivation for what she's doing. And that could be really, really cool to have somebody do the opposite of what you're expecting them to do because they're a big rule breaker. So that's pretty cool. And Walter, 543 words. That's awesome. Natalie's already gone, but yay, you can always watch the replay anytime. And Walter, luckily enough, all the characters in my book are breaking some sort of law. The laws were unjust. So yeah, I think that's fun. I'll be seeing John Gilstrap at Bowsher Con, and I had forgotten about his books. I read a lot of them. I really like them. So I'm gonna have to grab one of his beforehand, but he kind of has rule breakers in his books too. So he's cool. I just read Little Heaven by Nick Cutter, which is about three mercenary murderers essentially become in a way anti-heroes, and then you really root for them. And yeah, it becomes complicated as they like we get older. It kind of takes place in the 60s, I think, and then the 80s, and then the present day. So they get older and they have to go after this bad guy. Anyway, it was really good to see how they took somebody that was essentially breaking a lot of laws, three somebodies that were breaking a lot of laws, and made them relatable and somebody you would root for. It was a really good book that way. And Walter, two speeds, 1,000 words an hour or 20, no in between. Yeah, I hear you on that. I have days where nothing's coming to me. This scene that I'm working on right now, I just popped in. I read every day to try to think about what would be happening here and why. And I didn't have an idea until yesterday morning. And Dexter, main character couple visit historic site where the explorer lost his life 100 years ago, find a turtle on its back, help but don't adopt him because it's a park rule. Find a buried treasure, don't turn it in. She sees his ethics and colludes with him. Um, and I like that about the, sorry about the turtle not adopting. I saw somebody rescue some animal somewhere, and it was sort of the same situation. It was something I saw on TikTok, and they couldn't take it home because of the park or wherever they rescued it from. And yesterday, in my pool the other day, I had to rescue both a frog and a dragonfly. Like I go into my pool and I see a frog, baby frog, like this big. And as I'm getting him out, I turn around and there's a dragonfly drowning right next to me. We are screening in the pool, but that's not going to happen for a couple weeks. And so every day now I'm going out there worried that I'm going to find another frog. No idea where the frog came from because we don't have like we have ponds in our neighborhood, but they're 3 streets away from me. So I have no idea where this little frog came from. And Dexter life model a certain Warner Brothers cartoon character named Speedy Gonzalez. I remember that cartoon. I really liked that. It was funny. Let's try to fit. Let's do one more 15-minute anyway, even though it's almost 5 o'clock, because I really want to finish up the scene that I'm working on. And we will try to get another one in. And if you guys have any questions, you got to drop them in, so that I can see them when we come back. And we'll get one more in. And side note, I will not have a stream next Friday because my dad is coming to visit. So I will be visiting with my dad instead. But I should be back the Friday after that because I'm here all through August. I don't think I'm traveling at all in August, and then my travel starts up big time in September. So the live streams will be very erratic throughout the fall because I'm traveling quite a bit. Okay, let's do this. Hmm. Okay, another 15 minutes. We got a whole lot done, which is good. Um, the turtle is left on the beach to find turtle happiness. It still satisfies save the cat. Yes, it does. Having the character find a turtle and help it, even a small little thing like that, can be a great save the cat moment. And why you do a save the cat moment, which I've talked about in videos before, is to soften a character that may need a little bit of softening, or to show the potential of a character, or to show a different side of the character. Maybe your villain isn't as villainous as you think, because a lot of them are complicated, right? That's what made Tony Soprano so popular. He was complicated. He had some save the cat moments with those ducks in his pool, and that made him relatable to the audience. So he wasn't just a bad mob guy. Um, and yes, family is important, Walter. For a catchy song from the 30s or 40s, Don't Mess with Mr. In Between. I don't think I've heard one. I probably have, actually. I forget media that I have heard and seen and watched. My husband's always like, "Do you see this movie?" I'm like, "No." And then he starts playing. I'm like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, I did see that." 985 words, Walter. That is awesome. Silverali, 155. Elizabeth, 195. Walter, almost 1,000 words for total. That is pretty awesome for just an hour with like 45 minutes of writing. So you guys knocked it out of the park today. I appreciate you all joining me so much. I always love seeing you, and I look forward to this. Like I said, every single week. I really, really do. Look for another new video Monday. I know I took a couple weeks off there. I was pretty overwhelmed and had my kids here. There will not be a live stream next Friday, but there will be the Friday after that, whatever that date is, August something. So keep an eye out for that on the channel. And as always, drop any other questions you have into the chat, because if I didn't answer them now, I can answer them later. Or if you're watching this on the replay, go ahead and drop your question in the chat, because it will come up as a community thing for me, and I'll be able to see it and answer it. And if I don't get to it right away, just nudge me. Sometimes I'll miss it or I'll forget that it's there. So everybody have a great weekend, and I will